What's going on, guys? This is your November 14th Raw review. It is the Raw Super Show review. It is the Raw Gets Rocked review. It is the Go Home Show 4 Survivor Series review. It is a lot of things. It is a 3-hour show, and I am ridiculously tired. So, let's get down to it. Opened up the show. Finally, we had the Michael Cole challenge to JR, which was in 3 parts. It was an arm wrestling thing that Jim Ross won faster than Sting beat Jeff Hardy a couple months ago. I went there, even though I'm a Jeff Hardy fan. Dance competition, which we all thought was going to be ridiculous, and then JR was kind of awesome in his own little JR way. And the third was the Who Weighs Less contest, which was absolutely ridiculous, and obviously JR lost, so he didn't get his job back. CM Punk comes down to the ring, though, and he completely destroys Michael Cole, pipe bomb style, like only CM Punk can, but he is interrupted by John Laurinaitis, and CM Punk has the first line of the night: "Screw you and screw your 38,000 Twitter followers." Excuse me, guys. Laurinaitis announces that Punk and Big Show are going to face Alberto Del Rio and Mark Henry in a tag team match, and the main event tonight, set up both of the world title matches for Survivor Series. I'm okay with that. The big guys are going to do their big slow thing, and the awesome guys are going to do their quick awesome thing, and that's fine and wonderful. Cole is still talking, demands an apology from CM Punk. CM Punk puts him in the Anaconda Vice, which makes everybody happy. First big pop of the evening. We cut to the back to Matt Striker, who's in front of a limo, which we expect to be The Rock. And instead, even though Striker's sitting there marking out like a fiend in front of the limo before it even opens, instead we see Mick Foley, which made me mark out like a fiend. So there we go. Coming back, first match of the night, and this was the theme for most of the night. Most of the matches tonight were to promote the Survivor Series tag, the Team Barrett versus Team Orton, which was awesome, because looking at the match on paper, I'm not that excited about it. Not gonna lie. Sin Cara and Kofi Kingston versus Rhodes and Hunico. Couple things happened here. I love the fact that Kofi Kingston has not lost any steam, any TV time, whatever, just because his tag team championship partner is suspended. You would think that, that would, hinder him or detriment him or whatever, but with this leading into Survivor Series, I guess he was lucky that way. We get another chance to see Hunico, who I think is awesome in the ring and whatever, and, Hunico's got his own little team of luchadors, if you want to call them luchadors. Hunico, Epico, and Primo, who we haven't seen forever, and he's in this little triad now. But they weren't on Raw, they're from SmackDown, whatever. A lot of high-flying action from Hunico and Sin Cara, as you can expect. I am a big fan of the cruiserweights and such. If this is the slow progression to the reintroduction of the cruiserweight, division, or some cruiserweight action, I'm going to be a happy kid. Overall, this was a great match, a great warm-up match for Survivor Series, Not only was it some of the competitors from the Survivor Series match, but it is a tag team match. It wasn't, 5-on-5, but you get the tag team feel that we're going to get on Sunday when we add more people. Sin Cara has a really, this is the only real highlight I can pull out of this match, but Sin Cara had a really, interesting looking head scissor into a pin. It's like, how can I say this? Everybody that sees a Hurricane Rana basically drops you on your head and you roll over and it's a pin, but a head scissor isn't something that necessarily you would think would go directly into a pinfall, but this one did, and it was very, very nice. Crossroads, unfortunately, though, does get the win for Rhodes and Hunico. Great on 2 levels. They have to keep Cody Rhodes looking strong. He is the one carrying the newly rebranded Intercontinental Championship, and he is on fire, so he can't really lose any steam, or a lot of people, including me, are going to be really pissed off. Hunico could use the push, however, of being his partner in this win. He's brand spanking new. He's impressive from what I've seen, from the little bit that we've seen of him so far, and to sort of get the push on Cody Rhodes' coattails tonight did not hurt him in the slightest. We cut to the back and we see The Rock actually arriving. So, The Rock is here. We have been rocked. we cut to the back. We see Santino Marella playing WWE 12. He's The Rock and da-da-da-da-da, and Ryder interrupts him, and Ryder's a big fan of Cena, so they get into a big argument, and this and that. And the next thing, Ryder tries to get Santino to sign his petition on Twitter to get his U.S. title shot, and then they start talking about the match at Survivor Series with Rock and Cena versus Awesome Truth, and they go from arguing over who's the best to sort of agreeing that they're both going to beat up Awesome Truth, and then they go back to the U.S. title story again, and it's very much a Santino segment, not the best Ryder segment we've seen in a while. Vicky Guerrero comes out to announce that Christian is injured and can't be at Survivor Series, and starts bashing Teddy Long, and announces that Dolph Ziggler will replace Christian on Team Barrett. Now, there's a loose association between like Christian, Cody Rhodes, Dolph Ziggler, Swagger, Vicky's team. So it does make sense, but there's a big problem I'm going to talk about later with this decision. Going to talk about it in the score, win, and fail. But I'll leave that for now. JR is removed as Michael Cole comes back from the back with a arm brace on because, CM Punk broke his arm or some bullshit. We see Ziggler versus Mason Ryan, which is really unfortunate because it consists of Mason Ryan owning Dolph Ziggler for about a minute, Vicky slapping Mason Ryan, and the match ending in a disqualification. This match did nothing for anybody. Ziggler tries to leave. Morrison pops up out of the blue and tosses Ziggler back to Mason Ryan to get beat up some more. And Morrison gets a pop for being there for 30 seconds. Big fan of Morrison, but if the guy interfering gets more of a pop than the guys in the match, it's kind of bad, isn't it? We go back once again. We see Zack Ryder walking around with his Twitter petition, and he gets Mick Foley to sign his Twitter petition, which is awesome for him. Foley comes out, talks to the fans, says there's no place like home, which I thought was a ridiculous shot at TNA, and I had to kind of laugh. Starts talking about the Survivor Series tag match with Cena and The Rock versus Awesome Truth. Gives a big endorsement and a big push to Cena, and starts talking about how more fans should respect Cena and the body of work that he's done, and this and that and the next thing. I find it really, I don't want to say ironic, I don't want to say funny, I don't know what I want to call it exactly. I find it really interesting that Cena got booed out of the building, and it was in Boston. Boston, Massachusetts, next to West Newbury, Massachusetts, hometown boys getting booed out of the building. But anyways, Cena comes out and says to Foley, hey, I get what you're trying to do, but we don't have to be friends just because we're in a tag team match for one night. And Cena and Foley exchange some mutual respect, and the next thing, Foley says, I'm going to bring you guys together as a team, and proceeds to do the This Is Your Life thing that he did for The Rock like 10 years ago on Cena. Brings out his Little League coach who talks about, the big game where Cena struck out, and that didn't work too well. Brings out Bull Buchanan from when he was B2, when he was John Cena's sidekick, when John Cena was doing the old rap gimmick, and they did a flashback to a really old battle rap that John Cena did in like 2002, and I marked out because that was the last time I thought Cena was decent, but whatever. Bull Buchanan basically comes out with a big speech to Cena that basically ends in "You ruined my life." Foley introduces John Cena Sr., who comes out and starts berating the fans for not respecting his son until Cena has to shut him up. And Mick Foley tries to continue, but The Rock interrupts. And you figure The Rock is going to cut a ridiculously great promo on Cena or on both of them or whatever. No, walks in, music doesn't even stop. Rock bottoms Mick Foley and leaves. So Cena was spared, I guess, the ending of his This Is Your Life segment, but Rock made his opinion heard on that segment, I guess. Sheamus versus Swagger, oh dear. Oh dear. I really love the push that Sheamus is getting. I love where Sheamus is. He's like that far away from being back in the main event title picture. Swagger, I've no use for Swagger. And here's what I'll say. Sheamus owned Swagger for most of this match, but this match was a good match all around. From Sheamus and from Swagger. As good as the match is, I cannot bring myself to give a shit about Jack Swagger. It's not going to change anytime soon, and I really hate that he's associated with Ziggler. Anyways, a brogue kick gets the win for Sheamus. Ryder's in the back trying to get the Bellas to sign his petition, but they are distracted by Alberto Del Rio. They go and hit on him because he's the champion. Where's your car? Let's see your car. Let's see your money, etc. Natalia versus Kelly Kelly. Now, I buried Kelly Kelly a while ago for being the Cena of the women's division, getting ridiculous wins over people she shouldn't get a victory over. She won against Natalia, who's been, booked as the weaker portion of the Divas of Doom anyway, so I don't really have I kind of expected that, but she won by countering the sharpshooter. Now, let's think about the history of the sharpshooter. Let's think of Bret Hart versus Undertaker. Let's think about how everybody, from the crowd to the other wrestlers to the commentators, lost their minds when Undertaker broke the sharpshooter. And Undertaker is like the big beast in the WWE, and we were surprised that even he could break the sharpshooter. You're telling me an anorexic little twig like Kelly Kelly can break the sharpshooter. Even though it's not being applied by Bret Hart, it's still a ridiculously effective maneuver. And I said it on Facebook. Kelly Kelly broke the sharpshooter. I wonder if her jaw is still sore. Read into that what you will. John Laurinaitis is backstage on the phone, presumably with Brodus Clay. He says, yeah, we canceled your debut because we don't want you on The Rock's show. So that was great. And then he gave sort of a half-hearted pep talk to Alberto Del Rio. Alberto Del Rio had the line of the night, however, when his response was, don't worry, I'm going to be champion longer than you're going to be Raw General Manager. That's awesome. Stryker tries to interview the Awesome Truth, and they don't give him the time of day. Gonna talk about that later. Alberto Del Rio attacks Punk backstage, and then we have Show and Punk versus Alberto Del Rio and Mark Henry. Now, we have the one match that I'm looking forward to at Survivor Series combined with the match that I'm not looking forward to at all at Survivor Series, because I'm not a fan of the big guys matches, you know this. But, to be fair, this match was a lot better than I think it deserved to be. There was a little bit of Alberto Del Rio and Punk saving most of that for Survivor Series. There was a lot of Big Show and Mark Henry, which was a lot more watchable than I predicted. I will say that. And the rest of the time it was, the respective big guys versus the respective small guys. Mark Henry versus CM Punk, Big Show versus Alberto Del Rio. And there was a double layer sort of David and Goliath story going on throughout the match, which I thought everybody in this match, okay, don't like Mark Henry. But I will say everybody in this match pulled their weight, and it was a great match. It was a surprisingly great match, actually, so I didn't mind this at all. A great preview of both matches for the Survivor Series. World's Strongest Slam on Punk, and Alberto Del Rio gets the win. Santino comes to the ring and talks about the Royal Rumble, talks about last time he was in Boston, it was for the Royal Rumble, and he almost won. He would have won if it wasn't for Alberto Del Rio, which is ridiculous, but whatever. He says, I'm going to get my career back on track, and next time we're in Boston, I'm going to be a champion. He's interrupted by Nash. Nash says, don't worry, I'm not going to attack you. I'm actually one of your biggest fans. I want you to do the whole rusty trombone thing that you do. So he starts doing the rusty trombone thing and eats a boot from Nash. Nash then goes on to do a very, very lackluster bashing promo on Triple H, who's not there. So really super excited about Nash right now, can you tell? We have a rematch from SmackDown. SmackDown was really, really great this week once again. I say, like I said in my last review, I don't review SmackDown because I'm usually not home when I see it. But if I did, I would talk about Barrett versus Orton on SmackDown last week, which was a ridiculously good match. And Barrett is, swinging into my view of watchable guys now, whereas up until very, very recently I couldn't stand him. He's in that category with Alberto Del Rio and Sheamus, in that I couldn't stand them when they first started. I couldn't stand Wade Barrett when he got started. Sheamus won me over. I'll admit it. Alberto Del Rio won me over. I will admit it. If Wade Barrett keeps going the way he's going, he will win me over as well if he keeps having matches like he had on SmackDown. This one, however, both guys came out with their respective teams, so you know it really wasn't going to go anywhere. Everybody ran in. It was a no contest. It was a big friggin' group-on-group brawl, and Team Orton got the upper hand. At the end, everybody else had left, and Hunico was left with all 5 members of Team Orton, so he ate an RKO and got tossed out of the ring to the rest of his respective things. So I don't know whether that's because he's the newest guy on the roster right now. He's the one that gets tossed around, but it happened. I don't know why, but I'm excited about, as a fan, about Hunico, and I really, really hope good things happen for him, because I like what he does in the ring. Now, last segment, it is what it is. I didn't write much down. I basically wrote down Rock came in and did his thing. Cut some promo on everybody. Cut some promo on Cena. Cut some promo on Awesome Truth. Talked about Twitter, talking about how boots to asses is going to trend on Twitter worldwide, and this and that and the next thing. Awesome Truth come out, and to their credit and whatever, it cut a pretty damn decent promo on The Rock. Cena comes out and starts cutting a promo on The Rock, which is odd. Cena and The Rock start doing promo on each other, which is odd considering they're tag team partners, at least for one night. Miz brings up the very good point that the story isn't supposed to be about The Rock versus Cena. It's supposed to be about The Rock and Cena versus them, and they're going to grab everybody's attention, and this and that, and da-da-da-da-da. And eventually they get jumped by Cena, they get jumped by The Rock, and we end the show. So they get a beatdown from the big names, and I'm hoping, against hope, but I'm hoping that this means they're going to squeak out a win against The Rock and Cena at Survivor Series. I would like that a lot, but this is this and that is that, and somewhere in the middle of that promo, The Rock says John Cena has lady parts, and that's also going to trend on Twitter, which I thought was super awkward. Now, I want to say one thing. I will say it about The Rock, I will say it about John Cena, even though I can't stand him, and I will say it about CM Punk too. If WWE is PG, what did these 3 guys do that they're still allowed to swear and be profane and stuff like that? I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong. It makes them stick out as the main event guys. It makes them stick out as the heavy hitters on the roster. But it's very, very interesting that WWE is not only PG, but they're selectively PG. And my computer is flashing something at me that I'm going to ignore for now. Maybe it's the anonymous Raw general manager pissed off that he doesn't have a job anymore. But, moving on. Scores, fails, and MVPs. This is a full page. You don't believe me. There it is. But... well, not a full page, but you get what I mean. Punk takes down Cole. The promo that Punk cut on Michael Cole at the beginning of the show tonight was absolutely friggin' brilliant. Talking about how Cole wasted the first 20 minutes of the show, da-da-da-da-da. It's a 3-hour show and you already sound like you've been talking for 6 hours. It was great. JR in the booth. I wrote this down before they took him out of the booth, but anytime Jim Ross is on commentary, even for a little while, is 110% win. He needs to be there with the king. Josh Matthews needs to stay on SmackDown, need to get rid of Cole, get rid of Booker T. I don't care, bring Matt Striker back. Why the hell is Matt Striker not in the booth anymore? Somebody tell me that one, but whatever. I already mentioned it before, but Kofi Kingston hasn't lost any steam, hasn't lost any screen time due to his tag team championship partner being out. I really like that. I was nervous for Kofi Kingston, because Kofi Kingston on his own doesn't really have much going on. In the tag team, he's friggin' tremendous, but on his own, he doesn't really have much going. And the same thing for Evan Bourne when he was on his own. They got thrown together because neither one of them really had anything else to do. The fact that they made a wicked tag team out of that is almost besides the point. But he's still doing good. Rhodes has finally lost the mask, which I think is great. I think it was hindering him. It helped him develop that sort of deep, dark, brooding character, but at the same time, it overstayed its usefulness. And again, Rhodes has new music, and everybody marked out on my Facebook and this and that and the next thing and on texting. Everybody marked out that Cody Rhodes has new music, but no, it's just the 3rd remix of Smoke and Mirrors, if you listen to the lyrics. Oh yes. Morrison Ziggler. Could we see Morrison Ziggler in the future? I love watching Morrison and Ziggler go at it. I will pay pay-per-view money to see that match any day of the week. The This Is Your Life that Mick Foley did, yes, it's absolutely ridiculous. Yes, it's absolutely tacky and corny and not wrestling at all. But I love it. Mick Foley, as much as he used to be the hardcore guy, the Cactus Jack, the Mankind, whatever, Mick Foley is one of the best comedians in the WWE. It has to be said, and for him to come back, even for one night, he had to do it this way. And the whole Bull Buchanan thing took us to the flashback to the old school battle rap, which is, back when Cena was at least somewhat useful. Ryder's petition. Zack Ryder, for somebody who wasn't even on TV at all a year ago, had more FaceTime tonight because of his stupid Twitter petition for the U.S. Championship. He got more FaceTime, I think, than anybody else tonight. Granted, it was all in backstage segments, but that's important, so good for him. Alberto Del Rio's line to John Laurinaitis, I thought it was great. I'll be champ longer than you will be GM. I like it for this, because Alberto Del Rio is the heel, so the classic heel thing to do is, buddy up to the boss. But Alberto Del Rio is so cocky and so heel that he doesn't even think he needs the boss, and that a one-liner like that sort of outlines that, and I think that's really, really great. The Awesome Truth silent treatment to Matt Striker, and this is why I like this. R-Truth and The Miz are the cockiest, biggest, loudest, most obnoxious mouthpieces in the WWE. You think anytime they get within 10 feet of a microphone, they're going to be absolutely ridiculous. So for guys like that you expect to, not like CM Punk, but that you expect to drop a bomb at any given moment, to have a microphone put in their face and not say anything sells leaps and bounds the importance of their match this Sunday at Survivor Series, or at least that's my opinion on it. Now we go to the fail. Show opens with Michael Cole. The show should never open with Michael Cole. That's all I have to say about that. A lot of really odd things to say about the the Ziggler situation right now. Dolph Ziggler gets buried by Mason Ryan tonight. He got ragdolled around the ring for a minute, and then he was saved by Vicky. That's, for one of the biggest names in the WWE, or one of the most impactful names in the WWE right now, that's not good, is it? Mason Ryan's brand spanking new. Yeah, he's Batista 2.0, and they're pushing him hard because he's a big guy, and Vince and Triple H have a boner for big guys. But Dolph Ziggler has been carrying the U.S. Championship and making it actually mean something for a while now. That wasn't a great move. Now, second thing I'm going to say about the Ziggler situation. Christian's out of Survivor Series. Injury, whatever. They needed to fill that spot. But why would you take a champion the caliber of Ziggler, who has two potential contenders right now, in my opinion? He's got a waiting rivalry with Zack Ryder, and he's got a waiting rivalry with John Morrison. Why would you take a champion with that much double potential and just throw him in a multi-person match? For that matter, why is Cody Rhodes, who's doing an amazing job being the Intercontinental Champion, why would you throw him in a multi-person match on one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year? Those championships should still be defended, my personal opinion. I love Mick Foley. I love the comedic shit that he did. I love the This Is Your Life. What was a bit much for me was the half and half shirt, the half Rock shirt, the half Cena shirt. I didn't do it for me. Didn't do what it was supposed to do for me. Like I say, big fan of Sheamus. The fact that he wasted his time in the ring tonight with Jack Swagger, who I could not be paid to give a fuck about. Very, very sad. I know why they did it. They did it to build more interest in the tag match, but that just leads it to, I'm sad that Swagger still has a contract with the WWE. Last fail is Kelly. Done. MVP of the night is not Awesome Truth, is not The Rock, is not Cena, is not CM Punk or Alberto Del Rio or anybody that you guys probably expect from me. It is Sheamus, because even though I didn't give a shit about the match, even though I don't give a shit about Jack Swagger, Sheamus was still very watchable in his match tonight, and to have that much working against him and still put on a great match says leaps and bounds about his current work ethic and ability in that ring. Anyways, guys, that was the Raw was Rocked 3-hour Raw Super Show review from me to you. I've been Spaz. Subscribe up there, talk down there, let me know what you think, start a conversation, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.
Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on,